So already we have discussed the Bose-Einstein statistics in the previous class. In the today's class, we will take the Fermi-Dirac statistics. Okay, simply it is called as FD statistics. It is the quantum statistical distribution function. It applies to quantum particles with half integral spin. That is the property of this Fermi-Dirac statistics. And the particles which obey this Fermi-Dirac statistics are called as fermions. They are called as fermions. Let us take them in detail. Fermi-Dirac statistics is quantum statistics which satisfies the Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay, so it is a quantum statistics which satisfies the Pauli's exclusion principle. So Pauli's exclusion principle says that no state can accommodate only one particle in it, and it should have different set of quantum numbers. That is the Pauli's exclusion principle. So in given state, only one quantum particle is allowed. That is what Fermi-Dirac statistics says. Pauli's exclusion principle does not allow two particles to occupy a single state. Okay, so Pauli's exclusion principle takes only one particle in a given state. Okay, it allows only one particle to be in the given microstate, and it may remain empty. Two possibilities are there. In a given state, one particle can be present, or it may remain empty. So you cannot accommodate two particles in it. That is Pauli's exclusion principle. Again, Fermi-Dirac statistics explains distribution of indistinguishable and non-interacting particles in a given number of energy states. It applies to indistinguishable particle. Indistinguishable means you cannot find the difference between them. You cannot find the difference between the particles to another particle, and those particle has to be non-interacting. In such case, you can apply this FD statistics. For example, electrons, neutrons, protons. So they are all obeying this FD statistics. They are quantum particles. They are indistinguishable, and they obey Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay, or they are having half integral spin up and spin down. Okay, so let us derive the expression for this Fermi-Dirac distribution function. For that, let us consider a system of n number of identical and non-interacting particles with E as the total energy of the system. Total energy of the system is capital E, and there are total n number of particles. Then n and E are given by n is equal to summation of ni, where ni represent number of particles in the ith state. There are total small n number of states. And total energy E is given by summation of Ei ni, where Ei is the energy of ith state. Here ni is the number of particles occupied in the ith state having the energy Ei. Then since total number of particles and total energy of the systems are constant, therefore the variation of n should be 0. Okay, it is constant. N is constant means derivative of n must be 0, and that implies dn is equal to summation of dni is equal to 0. This is conservation of number of particles. Similarly, energy is conserved. That means energy is constant. Therefore, derivative of the energy must be 0. Therefore, dE, that is nothing but a summation of Ei dni should be equal to 0. So these are conservation laws. Okay, so these two equations are called as conservation of number of particles and conservation of energy. We'll use this particular expression in derivation of Fermi-Dirac statistics. We'll use them. Now let us consider the ith state. In a particular ith state, there are ni number of particles, and there are the energy of the state is Ei. So that is corresponding to the ith energy state. Okay, in a given particular energy state, ni number of particles are there. Ei is the energy. Let Gi be the number of possible microstates corresponding to energy Ei, and this is called as degeneracy. For a given energy, you can find a number of states, not only one state. You can find a number of states, and that is called as degeneracy. Okay, for the energy Ei, you can find Gi number of states. Okay, So that is called as degeneracy. You can find number of states for having the same energy, that is called as degeneracy, and those states are called as degenerate states. Okay, the states are said to be degenerate states. Okay, so now in this case the energy EI has the degeneracy of GI. That means you can find GI number of states having the energy EI. Okay, so energy of the ith state is EI, and you can find GI number of states having the energy EI. That is called EI has a degeneracy of GI. Now we have to obey the Pauli's exclusion principle. Application of Pauli's exclusion principle restricts the each energy state to accommodate at the most one particle. In a given state, only one particle is possible. If there are GI number of states, you can accommodate only GI number of particles, that's all. If there are 10 states are there, you can accommodate 10 particles. That is the maximum number of particles you can accommodate, because in one state, only one particle is allowed. Okay, you note this particular point. Since Ni particles are to be distributed in GI number of states having the same energy EI, then the condition GI must be greater than or equal to Ni should be satisfied. So if there are 10 particles, you need at least 10 states to accommodate them. Okay, so number of states cannot be less than number of particles. Number of states must be greater than or equal to number of particles that has to be accommodated. Okay, so GI should be greater than Ni. If 10 particles are there, the number of states required is more than 10, at least 10, and you can get more than 10 also. Okay, so let us take the distribution of Ni number of particles such that one particle in one state, then total Ni number of states will get filled up. If there are Ni particles are there, Ni number of states will get filled up, because in one state, one particle is allowed. The remaining GI minus Ni states will remain empty. Okay, so out of GI number of states, Ni number of states will filled up, because Ni number of particles are there, they will filled up, and GI minus Ni number of states will remain empty. Now these GI states can be arranged in GI factorial ways according to the permutation. If there are 10 states are there, you can arrange these states in 10 factorial ways. Okay, factorial of 10. That is the number of ways you can arrange this GI number of states. According to the permutations, the filled state can be arranged in Ni factorial ways among themselves, and it does not give new arrangement because of indistinguishability of the particles. Okay, so filled state and unfilled states. Okay, you consider the filled state, that is Ni number of states are filled up, GI minus Ni number of states are empty, and there are total GI number of states, and they can be arranged in GI factorial number of ways. The filled state can be arranged in Ni factorial number of ways. Okay, and also the arrangements of empty states can be done in GI minus Ni factorial number of ways, and these arrangements among the empty states are same, because the states are empty. You can arrange them in a different way, it doesn't matter. If you take first state to the second or second state to the first, if you exchange them, since they are empty states, so interchanging the empty states cannot change the entire possible system. Okay, so therefore the number of possible different ways with which Ni particles are distributed in GI number of microstates, that is given by omega I is equal to GI factorial by Ni factorial into GI minus Ni factorial. Okay, the validity of this particular equation or expression is already discussed in the previous class while discussing the introduction of quantum statistics. Okay, so you just go through that particular class, then you can find validity of this expression. Believe me, this gives you total number of ways in which Ni number of particles can be distributed in GI number of states in accordance with Fermi-Dirac statistics. Okay. So this is the number of ways. The thermodynamic probability of the entire system can be obtained by taking the products of this omega I. And therefore, the total thermodynamic probability is given by omega is equal to product of this particular term where I runs from 1 to n. There are n number of macro states. So this ith state is a micro state. There are n number of macro states. So gi factorial by ni factorial into gi minus ni factorial. Okay. Now expressing this in terms of entropy in using the Boltzmann's theorem, you will get S is equal to K ln omega. We have got the thermodynamic probability omega, then you can find the entropy S, where K is the Boltzmann constant. And for the most probable distribution or equilibrium distribution, this ln omega must be maximum. Otherwise, entropy must be maximum. Okay. If entropy is maximum, derivative of the entropy must be 0. That is the case. Okay. If entropy is maximum, then derivative of the entropy must be 0. So same technique we are using, whatever you have used for Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics and Bose-Einstein statistics. We have found the thermodynamic probability, then apply it to the Boltzmann's theorem. Okay, same technique, exactly similar steps are there. If entropy is maximum, then dou S must be equal to 0. Derivative of the entropy must be equal to 0. And dou S will give you K into dou ln omega must be equal to 0, where K is Boltzmann constant, which is a constant. Therefore, it will be out of the derivative operator. Now we have omega. You take ln of omega, then take the derivative of ln of omega. That should be equal to 0. Equate it. Okay. Now let us take ln of omega. Omega is already known to us. You take ln of omega, that is ln of product of gi factorial by ni factorial into gi minus ni factorial. Ln of product of terms is equal to sum of ln of individual terms. Okay. Therefore, this can be rewritten as ln of, that is summation of ln of gi factorial minus ln of ni factorial minus ln of gi minus ni factorial, because this is in the denominator. It is of the form ln of m by n. Ln of m by n is nothing but ln of m minus ln of n. Okay, so that's why negative sign comes here. Now apply Stirling approximation. We know that according to Stirling approximation, ln of n factorial is equal to n ln n minus n for the large values of n. And remember, the states and number of particles are very large in number. Stirling approximation holds good. Therefore, I can write this ln of gi factorial as gi ln gi minus gi. Then this ln of ni factorial is written as minus ni ln ni plus ni, because of this negative sign. Negative into negative, it becomes plus. Then minus gi minus ni into ln of gi minus ni plus gi minus ni. Okay. Then simplify it further. This is plus gi is there, minus gi is there. This gets cancelled. The minus ni plus ni, this gets cancelled. Only the ln terms will remain. Therefore, you left with ln omega is equal to summation of, which is running from I equal to 1 to n of gi ln gi, this term remains, minus ni ln ni, this term remains, minus gi minus ni into ln of gi minus ni. This term is going to remain. Other things are getting cancelled. Now you have to find out this derivative of ln omega must be equal to 0. This is derivative with respect to ni, because number of states are constants, where number of particles can vary. Okay, according to the conservation law, dni must be equal to 0. Okay, where the number of particles in ith state can change. So now take the derivative of this ln omega with respect to ni, taking gi as a constant. This is a partial derivative. So that will give you derivative of this particular summation, and that should be equal to 0. Now differentiate this. Okay, first term is constant because it is a term containing gi, it is constant. Therefore, first term will become 0. Derivative of this ni ln ni is giving you ni into 1 by ni, that is equal to 1, and ni into derivative of ln ni, sorry, ln ni is 1 by ni, that gets cancelled, and you will get 1, and that is negligible compared to this particular term. You will get a derivative of this term as a 2 containing the two terms. One is 1, another term is derivative of ni into ln ni. So that is derivative of ni is 1, you will get ln of ni. Similarly, this one, you will get ln of gi minus ni into dni must be equal to 0, because you are differentiating with respect to ni. Okay. Now use the Lagrange's method of undetermined multiplier, and then you multiply minus alpha and minus beta to the conservation laws equation, whatever you have seen at the beginning. You multiply this conservation of number of particle equation by minus alpha and conservation of energy equation by minus beta. Because these are zeros, if you multiply this summation by any non-zero integer, that left right hand side will not change. It is 0 only, because summation of dni is already proved to be 0, and summation of ei dni is also equal to 0. If you multiply it by any non-zero integer or non-zero number, the right hand side will not change. Now we add these two equations to this particular equation. Add it. Adding these two to the above equations, you will get minus ln ni plus ln of gi minus ni minus alpha minus beta into ei into dni. I will take dni as a common factor. So this is minus alpha into dni. Minus alpha into dni is taken as a common factor. It is minus beta into ei. dni is taken out. Okay. Then we have to find the values of alpha and beta in such a way that the each and every term in the summation should be 0. So this particular term vanishes for each value of I. For each state, this particular equation is going to be true. Therefore, the individual term in the summation, that is minus ln ni plus ln of gi minus ni minus alpha minus beta ei should be equal to 0. Okay. So this implies ln of gi minus ni by ni minus alpha minus beta ei should be equal to 0. This is of the form ln m plus ln n, that can be rewritten as ln of m by n. This negative sign indicates that this term in the denominator, it is ln of gi minus ni minus ln of ni. Ln of m minus ln of n, that can be written as ln of m by n. So that is ln of gi minus ni by ni minus alpha minus beta ei, it is kept as it is, that is equal to 0. Rearrange, you will get ln of gi minus ni by ni is equal to alpha plus beta ei. Then this is logarithmic equation, you convert that into exponential form. Ln of m is equal to some x. It means that m must be equal to e to the power x. This is ln, means it is log to the power to the base e. So gi minus ni by ni will be equal to e to the power alpha plus beta ei. So exponential of this term. So logarithmic equation is converted into exponential equation. Okay. Then you take the ratio. So this can be rewritten as gi by ni minus ni by ni. Ni by ni is 1. You take it to the other side. You will get gi by ni is equal to e to the power alpha plus beta ei plus 1. And basically this gi by ni, ni by gi is a distribution function. So finally, you will get ni is equal to gi by e to the power alpha plus beta ei plus 1. And this ni can be expressed as gi into f of ei, and we call this f of ei as a distribution function. Always this equation is true in general. The number of particles in the ith state is equal to the number of available states in the ith state into the distribution function. And if you compare these two, you will get f of ei as a FD statistical distribution function or Fermi-Dirac distribution function, and that is going to be FD of ei is equal to 1 divided by e to the power alpha plus beta ei plus 1. In general, For a state having the energy E, you can find the values of alpha and beta, and you can prove that alpha is equal to minus EF by KT, and we call this EF as a Fermi energy. We'll discuss that in the next class. So in the FD distribution function, we can prove this value of alpha is equal to minus EF by KT, and value of beta is equal to 1 by KT. Okay. So using that, you can substitute this alpha and beta in the above equation. Here, K is the Boltzmann constant and T is the absolute temperature. And therefore, the Fermi-Dirac distribution function becomes F of Fd of Ei is equal to 1 divided by e to the power Ei minus Ef divided by Kt plus 1. I have taken alpha is equal to minus Ef by Kt, beta is equal to 1 by Kt. So just you recall the equation here. It is e to the power alpha plus beta Ei. You put alpha is equal to minus Ef by Kt. You put beta is equal to 1 by Kt. Okay, you will get this particular expression, and this is called as Fermi-Dirac distribution function. And finally, you write in terms of energy E in general. So in the FD statistics, the states can accommodate only one particle, and the FD distribution function in FD statistics, the state can accommodate only one particle in it, and FD distribution function gives the probability of occupation of the energy. Okay, I think I have muted. Okay. So in Fermi-Dirac distribution function, this gives you the probability of occupation of energy state Ei, whether that energy state Ei is occupied or not. That is given by this Fermi-Dirac distribution function. So this distribution function can take the values between 0 and 1. If Fermi-Dirac distribution function takes the value 1, it means that that state is occupied. So there is a particle in the state. Okay, only two possibilities are there. One possibility is you can get the occupied state by a particle, or it can be empty, because in one state only one particle is allowed. If the state is occupied, then Fermi-Dirac statistics will give you the value 1. Okay, distribution function will take the value 1, and the value 0 represents the empty state. If distribution function is having the value 0, it represents empty state. Then the particles which obey this Fermi-Dirac distribution function are called as fermions. We call them as fermions. Okay, and this statistics function applies to the particles with half integral spin, and they should obey Pauli's exclusion principle. Then only you can apply this Fermi-Dirac statistics. The examples are electrons, protons, neutrons, muons, etc. They obey this Fermi-Dirac statistics distribution function. And in the today's class, we have taken the derivation of Fermi-Dirac statistical distribution function and some important properties of this Fermi-Dirac distribution function.